What's up, guys? This is TheKephas. Recently, I put out an Elden Ring video, and I am overwhelmed with how much good feedback I got from that video. I'm so thankful to you guys for being so supportive and just giving all the positive feedback and vibes. And one of the things I got asked the most since that video is, what build am I running? So I thought I'd make a video showing off my build, or actually my builds, because I have two main characters that I like to play with, because even though I haven't beaten the game yet, I'm an alcoholic and I have a problem. I like to play multiple characters in every game that I play. So I want to throw out some disclaimers first, so hopefully you guys will be nice to me. I do not claim to be a build expert, so my builds are probably not even close to being perfect or even make any sense. Just keep in mind, I don't always go for what I think is the most efficient or whatever. My understanding of the game is still growing, but I do go with what I think is the most fun or what looks the coolest at the time. So I'm open to constructive criticism and suggestions of what you guys think I could do to make my builds better, and also let me know what kind of builds you guys run with. I'd love to hear about that. But either way, let's get right into it with my first character. So this character is what I like to call my Colossal Crusader. This was my original character that I made, and my goal at first was to make this character a holy type paladin crusader character, because paladin has always been my favorite archetype in any game that I play if it's available. In fact, TheKephas was the name I used for my character in World of Warcraft. That's where I got that name, and my character was a paladin. So yeah, I love paladins. They're always cool, holy knights, you know, that kind of thing. But I was having a hard time with it, and I felt like I needed a respec. I was, going sword and board because I played a knight in Dark Souls 3, and I thought that would be the way to go for me. But I have actually come to not like that playstyle in this game for whatever reason, and also was concerned with how holy was going to perform. I could be wrong about this, but I think there are going to be a lot of enemies and maybe even bosses that are going to be very resistant to that, and I wasn't down with, having that disadvantage. So I thought I would, change course a little bit. I'm still kind of a primarily strength and faith, type character with a lot of endurance and vigor and that kind of stuff. But, kind of changing up the focus to being sort of a heavy strength colossal knight that also uses faith spells to buff myself. So I'm still kind of a paladin-y type character. It's just that I use the holy light and the holy fire to buff myself and give myself more damage, as opposed to using it as a weapon itself. So I might look into the future into using faith damage in terms of lightning maybe, or fire. But either way, that's another story for another day. But as you can see, I'm running with the Colossal Crusher, and I also have the Claw Mark Seal in my left hand for my incantations. And then, of course, I've got the Crucible Knight set because it looks awesome. And frankly, for the weight, it has really good stats. So I'm pretty happy with that as well. There's a couple other armor options I've thought about maybe switching to if I feel like I need to. But this is what I'm running with for now. So let's go ahead and go deeper in here. And, like I said, I am heavily overleveled. I am way past meta, and frankly, I feel like I could use a few more points into endurance, which we will get into. So yeah, heavy giant crusher, scaling a lot with strength. Of course, going to try to rank that up as quickly as I can because the damage is already insane, very insane, in fact. And this thing isn't even fully maxed out yet, so I cannot imagine what this thing is going to do. So here we go, heavy crusher, heavy giant crusher, and then of course I have the claw mark seal for my incantations, which with the incantations that I use, I don't think it really matters which seal that I'm using because it's not for dealing damage anyways, it's just for buffing. Now, again, there's the Crucible armor. I also have, so I started with the Banished Knight set, and unpopular opinion, I'm not a big fan of how that looks, but it carried me through the early game pretty well. And then, of course, I got Radigan's armor. Wait, oops, my bad. Yeah, Radigan's armor. I went the other way. That was very good as well. Looks pretty cool, but again, not really the look I was going for. So I went and got the Tree Sentinel armor. And then right after that, spoilers, I got the Crucible armor, and I like both of these, to be honest. And this one, though, requires a lot more weight as opposed to this one. So I like the Crucible armor set better, though. If I was going for a Paladin, this one would probably look more the part, but I don't care, dude. It's the game. It's whatever. I'd rather not have to use my Arsenal Charm, which if I put maybe just a couple more points into Endurance, I won't have to be using this anymore and I can switch it out for something else. So I'm probably going to do that, which again is insane because I'm already way over leveled. But hey, you know what? It is what it is, and I like to have fun, and I over level. Sue me. I like to feel like a freaking powerhouse, one-shot and crazy enemies, you know, whatever. So, of course, I also use Eartree's Favor, and I have the Star Scourge heirloom, which increases my strength, giving me a little bit more damage, just a little bit, just because, you know, I don't have enough. But yeah, so there's a couple different charms I've considered using. There's a Shard of Alexander. There's also a charm, and again, I apologize, I'm not good with names, but there's a charm that will extend my spells duration, which I think would be nice to have, just because then I could get more out of those, and maybe they'd last longer, even though I kind of, you know, want to get through fights as quickly as possible because I'm just doing high damage and just trying to get through things very quickly. There's also, yeah, like I said, Shard of Alexander to buff my skill, which my skill, by the way, didn't even talk about that. It's very important. People sleep on this skill. The Flame of the Redmanes. You can get this very easily, very early, and if you're going for a build like this with a good weapon, I recommend that you get this thing. I'm not going to, you know, I'm going to show you guys why in a little bit, but this thing is insanely powerful. It does a lot of damage, first off. Second off, it will break poise and break guards so fast, it is insane. And as you guys saw in my little demonstration video, it's pretty nuts what this thing can do. So, yeah, again, I don't claim to be a crazy build expert, but this is what I'm running with. I put points into Vigor, put points into Endurance, a lot of points into Strength early on to get to where I can use the Crusher. Before I was using the Crusher, I was using the Guts Greatsword, which is another great option, but I like the Crusher a little bit more because of its, you know, its moveset and just the distance, and it's just a really, really cool looking weapon. And also, you know, maces and hammers are good with Paladins. So, and then of course I've got a little bit of points into Faith, and I have also 1 point, or at least 10 points. Well, I guess I put 1 point because of the class that I am, I Confessor. I put 1 point in Arcane because I was using a different Ash of War, which I don't even think I need anymore, or a different incantation. Like I said, terrible with names, I apologize. But either way, it is what it is. So, probably put like 2 or 3 more points into Endurance. I can get rid of the Arsenal Charm finally and use something else. So, there's a couple of good options out there. I just got to hunt them down, and yeah, that's my idea. So, either way, that's what it looks like there. Again, highly over-leveled. As for my incantations, so this is what I thought was cool. So, my weapon does 609 damage one-handed. Let's go two-handed, actually, I forgot. So, two-handed, my weapon does 661 damage. Now, the 2 incantations that I use is, of course, Golden Vow, which we use here. Now, this will increase my damage significantly. Now I'm doing 760 damage. But then we can also do Flame. Hang on, I'm terrible with these controls. Yeah, there we go. Flame grant me strength, which looks cool. Kind of like cool, like a holy fire kind of thing going on. And then we look at my damage, and now I'm doing 912 damage two-handed, which is insane. Okay, that is nuts. So I get that little buff for like 30 seconds. Of course, I use up some of my mana, which is fine because my summon is the Mimic's Tear, which is, again, just fine because it uses health. And then I've got my potion, my bubble potion to give me some bubble, you know, defense. And then I can just go in and start destroying things. And again, remember, this crazy weapon is only at plus 15 right now. So what the heck is the damage on this going to be by the time I'm done. I have no idea. There are, like, you know, people that probably know that are way further than me, but I'm excited to find out what this thing is going to do. And again, we haven't even showed off the the Ash of War yet, so it's pretty nuts what's going on here. So yeah, buff myself like that, and then of course, you know, I keep those buffs going. I also thought about adding in, like, I think it's called, like, Blessing's Boon, which is like a heal over time ability, incantation. So I can, you know, add that at the beginning as well. That one lasts for a very long time. It probably lasts through most fights. It's like 180 seconds. And then, of course, if I get that talisman that extends the duration, then that would be just great. So I have a lot of options and things to consider. But either way, this is my build. Now let's go ahead and kill one of these big dum-dums out here. We're going to go ahead and rebuff ourselves. So we're going to use Golden Vow, which uses up a lot of my mana. And then, of course, we're out of mana. Let's go ahead and drink a flask. The wrong flask. Geesh. There we go. Right flask. Now, fire grant me strength. And then we'll go down here and I'll show you what the Redmane's fire, Flame of the Redmanes actually does. So, we're going to go two-handed here. And then bam. And then bam. And then bam. Look at that. Poise down for these big guys. Takes 3. A lot of times it only takes 2 of those to bring something down to its knees, and then I can just finish it off. And look at that. He is dead, yo. That is insane. This thing works on so many bosses. Even bosses like Margit. I even used it on Renala. I mean, so far it's working on pretty much everybody. It's insane what this thing can do. And so that's my combo. I just keep myself buffed up, do tons of damage, and then take fools out just like that. There is a talisman that I can get which will allow me to regain my FP when I get critical hits. I actually think I have it. I might even consider using that just to keep my FP up. But for boss fights, I wouldn't need it, so it wouldn't really matter either way. And so I have a couple mana flasks to use, and then yeah, it's pretty good. So that's basically this build. It's so much fun. The moveset on this hammer is awesome. Then, you know what? There's also the talisman that improves jump attacks, which is something that I do use a lot because I'm not always stun locking enemies like that. It doesn't always work out that way. So yeah, there's a lot of cool options with this build, but it's so much fun. I love using this weapon. I love, you know, buffing myself and just running in and going crazy. So that's this build. You guys let me know what you think about it, and let's move on to my next build. Now this is my Dark Moon Crusader. This is the character that I featured in my last Elden Ring video. I abandoned my main for a little while to try this one out, to build a character entirely around the Dark Moon Greatsword because I saw it and saw how cool it was and just had to try it out. So I'm glad that I did because this is a fun character to play. Doing the quest line was awesome, great story, and all kinds of cool stuff happened, and just a very fulfilling experience. Just doing that part alone was worth it. Funny thing is, I'm actually around the same part in the game as I am with my other character, and I'm also just about as over-leveled as I am with that character, so I'm going to probably get some hate, but hey, it's my game, I play how I want to, right? You play how you want, I'll play how I want. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got going on here. So we have the Dark Moon Greatsword maxed out. It's a somber weapon, uses somber smithing stones, so you only need to get it to 10. And it's kind of funny that you can get the somber smithing stones a lot easier and earlier in the game than you can get the normal smithing stones. You have to kind of wait a little bit to get those, or at least get those reliably. So I'm not quite there yet, but it's kind of funny how the game is. So either way, yeah, I got the Dark Moon Greatsword maxed out. Scales mainly with intellect, so of course this is going to be an intellect build. Does some split damage with physical and magic. but it does a lot of damage either way. So then we have the Carrion Regal Scepter, and this is for in situations when I feel like I need to use ranged attacks. I was using the Meteorite staff for a while, which is still a pretty good staff, but you can't scale it up. But it is good with certain spells, so it's something that I might switch back to if I feel like I need to. But I'm going to buff this one up and see what it can really do. So I don't use it too often, but there are situations like when I was fighting Estelle, when having a staff around was very handy. So I do kind of keep it around just in case. Then, of course, we have the Jellyfish Shield. This is a really cool shield. It kind of like just seems like something that a mage could use. It's actually, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's a great shield. So it has really good block. Really good protection and, you know, pretty good guard boost for what it is. You know, I'm not always close up, but I am, you know, I do get close up pretty often. So there are a lot of times where having this shield does help, but it's not something that I can rely on as heavily as, like, you know, if I'm playing like a, you know, a shield tank type character. But still, it does help. And speaking of which, we have our armor, which, you know, again, is not the most powerful or strongest armor in the game, but it does give us some pretty good protection. We have the Great Helm, which is my favorite helm in the game because it looks the part of the Crusader, of course. And then we're running with Blide's armor, which is a pretty cool armor set that you can get. Kind of looks the part, again, for being this, like, you know, Dark Moon, cold, you know, wielding, you know, warrior type character. So I kind of like look like a Crusader, but I also look like I'm from like Winterfell or something. So I'm like part of the Stark family or whatever they're called from Game of Thrones. So yeah, shout out to George R.R. Martin. You know, paying homage, I guess. I don't know, but either way, that's my armor. And then of course talismans. Again, I'm not the best with talismans, but we are of course using Erdtree's Favor because it's such a good talisman to get early on. Helps with equip load and all that kind of stuff. And then we have this one, the Carrion Filigreed Crest, which reduces the amount of FP consumed by skills. This is a little bit helpful because it helps with both charging my Darkmoon Greatsword and charging my Jellyfish Shield. Doesn't take as much FP to use those, which is nice. But the thing is, the Darkmoon Greatsword doesn't use FP when you're actually slinging the magic beams around. So you use it when you charge it, but when you're actually, you know, using it to sling the beams, it doesn't actually use FP. So it's still pretty useful. I can charge things up more often on the fly. But either way, it's something I could probably replace with other talismans, and that also applies to the Arsenal Charm, which again, you know, this increases my equipment load. I'm already insanely over level, but a couple more levels and I can get my endurance up to the point where I probably wouldn't need this anymore, and then I can switch to other charms, which there are a lot of really good charms that I can switch to. I mean, there's Godric's Icon, I believe, and that's the one that will increase my, I think, my skill damage, maybe my spell damage. I'm not sure, but either way, it's one I can get. There is an intellect charm that will increase my intellect. Again, you guys, I apologize, I'm terrible with names. There's the Shard of Alexander, which would be good for my skills. You know, Darkmoon Greatsword is a charged skill technically, so that would help with that as well. So there are some skills that will, or some charms that will increase the effect of my Darkmoon Greatsword. So that's pretty cool. And then, you know, there are other charms I can use and consider, so, or talismans, I should say. So there's a lot I can consider, but either way, this is what I'm running with now. I want to get rid of this Arsenal Charm as quickly as possible because it doesn't, you know, if I can just take a like half hour, get a couple more levels, and not need to use this anymore, then to me that's worth it. So that's just my opinion, though. I don't really think I'm going to be changing my armor to anything heavier. If I did, it would probably only be the Crucible Knight armor, which is just such good armor. Like, it's just like for the stats and for the weight, it's just such a good armor set, and it would probably give me a little bit more, but I don't know. I've already got a character running with that, and I think this armor set just looks really cool. So either way, that's what I've got going on here. Now I'll show you guys what my skills do, and it's really awesome. So the Darkmoon Greatsword, without having any buffs and using it one-handed, does 794 damage as of right now. If I buff it, I charge it up, and we're just going to go back to one-handed just because it now does 859 damage, which is a pretty good jump. It also can sling the beams around for a while. And then, though, if I want to keep one-handed and keep my shield out, I can use the Jellyfish Shield's ability, which will make it turn red and also increase my damage to now doing over 1,000, which is crazy. That's insane damage. And so even if I am going in melee, I can totally just pop both of those and go in and go crazy, but I can also just switch back to two-handed with the Darkmoon Greatsword. I can use R2 and I can sling these beams around, and they also do like cold damage or whatever. So that's cool. Of course, when I do go two-handed, my jellyfish buff does go away, so that's the only downside to that. But either way, let's go and we'll fight these giants here again, and you guys can see. Now, I'm a little bit worried because if I use my spell, or my Darkmoon Greatsword spell, it is probably going to aggro the other one, and I don't want to fight both of these guys because I'm not that awesome at this game. But we will just run right in. Dang it, I need to charge this again. So, hang on. Let's see. There we go. We're good now. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's okay. Everything's fine. We're just going to go. Look at that. He's dead. Bye-bye. Sayonara. It's all good. Now, let's see if we can use the spell. Again, there are some talismans that I think will make this even stronger. But it also has a... Like, I have a hard time figuring out the range of this thing. So, like, right now, I swear it's hitting him, but it wasn't. Which is kind of annoying, but... You know, either way, it's like sometimes I just feel like I'm not hitting him. But yeah, so sometimes the Darkmoon Greatsword like spell like this will actually, yeah, there you go. So it'll actually stun him, bring him down, and then I can go in for a finishing attack, and this should actually kill him. So there you go. It is pretty strong. It doesn't hit as hard as my Colossal Crusader does, but I can stay back. I have, you know, spells that I can use. Mainly just use the Rock Sling. Of course, I have my Bubble Flask, and then I have my Ash of War. Again, I use my Mimic. It's pretty good, man. Mimic is just awesome. Mimic tier is great. So I do use this, which again, if I use the Meteorite Staff, this spell does more damage. The other spell that I have, besides Rock Sling, is the Comet Azure, the Kamehameha, which is so freaking cool. But I do not have the mana to sustain that for very long, so I just have it there because it looks cool and just in case I decide to change things up later down the road. But I'll probably take that off because I'm never really going to use it. So, but mainly I just stick to my Darkmoon Greatsword. Like I said, you guys, you know, my builds may not be perfect, but they're fun. And I'm always down for feedback. I'm always down for suggestions to what I can do to improve these builds and make them even more awesome. But that's what I'm playing. You guys asked for it, and I thought I'd show you guys. And hey, you know what? I'm also down to try out new builds. There are a lot of cool other builds out there that I thought I might want to try out someday, like the Lightning Spear and maybe like dual katanas or Uji katanas like Leonardo. That would be kind of sweet. So, you know, of course, there's the ever famous bleed characters that do insane damage and are like the meta right now or whatever. I don't know. But you guys let me know in the comments what you think I might run with. And honestly, let me know how you feel about this. I might even start a new character and play it on YouTube or maybe even stream it or something. So if that's something you guys would like to see, let me know about it in the comments below. Let me know what you think about my builds. Please be nice, and I'd like to hear what kind of builds you guys run with. But hope you liked this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I had fun making it. Otherwise, I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button. And feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. And if you'd like to see more videos, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook, and if you'd like, you can support my work on Patreon. Links to all that stuff can be found in the description below. This is TheKephas. Until next time.